Okay, let's try this again. This is Sunday Night Live Power Hour with Soldier of Self-Mastery, episode number 17. Episode number 17. I'm really excited today. I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but that's okay. We're going to work through the problems. There's always a solution to every problem, my friend. And today, let me see if this is going to work. We're going to hang out for a little bit. Okay, I apologize for any technical difficulties. I see that we have somebody that just joined. If you want to share your name, you want to share where you're from, I would really enjoy that. I've got some house cleaning I want to get out of the way before we get started with my good old-fashioned story time tonight or this afternoon. Anyways, once again, this is episode 17. And we're going to share a little bit about my story. We are going to share a little bit about my story. Might have a few distractions here. Actually, my story, for a childhood story. And I believe that I'm excited to be here once again. I'm excited because I'm very grateful. I'm excited because I'm free. And I'm excited because those of you that are going to be here to join me this Sunday. This story is actually a true story, and it's a bit of a sad. It has a little bit of a sad twist to it, but I'm going to get into it here in a few minutes. This broadcast is going to be a very short one. I'm not going to keep it very long because of the fact that I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm not in my studio, and I'm not in my office. I'm kind of out on the road, so you can see in the background I'm doing this not from home. So. I'm going to be checking on the chat, live chat. I'm going to be checking on that. Hello, JP, J Reading. Hi, made it for the start of the story time. Nice. Let me get that. I can't help tech-wise, maybe. Well, the problem that I'm having is I'm operating without Wi-Fi. Right now, I'm kind of away from my normal Wi-Fi zone area, so I'm just operating on T-Mobile, which is okay. So we're gonna do this. I guess I could probably type in there maybe. Let me see. I can't type. But soldiersofselfmastery.com is the subscribe page if you haven't subscribed yet. I'm still waiting for others to join. I believe we're going to have a little bit of a crew tonight here. And this is going to be a great story because why am I sharing this story? Well, I've been asked to share some of my stories. Welcome, Laura, to episode number 17. And I'll tell you why I'm so excited. I'm not excited about the story, to be honest with you, because it's a little bit of a sad story. But I'm excited because, number one, I'm free. I'm excited because I'm getting more of you guys commenting and sending me emails, letting me know how these videos and how my philosophy is impacting your life. I'm excited about that, guys, and I truly hope that you guys have had a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top weekend. I tell you, there's nothing better than having a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top weekend, my friends. So I'm going to get into it here again. Laura, thank you. Look forward. Hey, Laura says, what's up? Or J Reading says, what's up? I'm sure we can learn from your story time. I got to say this again. Some good old-fashioned story time. I just love saying that. Been a hard week, but ended on a super high. Good to hear that, J Reading. Good to hear that, man. Hopefully that's... Again, I'm not in the studio, so I'm having a little bit of a challenge here because I'm using my iPhone. But hopefully you guys are having great weather where you're at. I tell you, my friends, life is not it's not easy, it's not hard. It's doable, right? Life is doable. Whatever you put into life, that's what you're going to get out of it. So if you work smart, I don't really want to work hard. I want to work smart, right? If you work smart and you work your plan, we talked a little bit about that in the last episode. We talked about Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous. That program has a 12-step system within it. And the people that take advantage of that 12-step system, see, the people that take advantage of that 12-step, they may not do all the 12-step, but if you do 3 or 4 of those steps, it's better than no step. So we definitely have to have a plan for direction, a good direction in life, and to be able to get free, you know, to be able to get to that place where we are happy with who we are and where we're going in life. You know, you could have all the money in the world. You can have all the money. You could be rich. You could be filthy, stinking rich and be miserable. I know there's people out there. I don't like to meet them kinds of people, but they're out there. And I'll tell you, that's not the way that I plan on living my life. There was a time where I was living my life in a bubble. It was very difficult. I could see out, but people could not see in. I was living a double life. So, soldiersofselfmastery.com. That website is at my personal website. It's actually being redone, revised. It's actually really nice looking. My partner, Cephas, maybe he'll catch this episode wherever he is. A shout out to Cephas for working on my technical side and helping me with my mission of empowering folks around the world. So it's time to get excited, my friends. If you haven't purchased the book, I encourage you to get it. Study it. Study the book. It's a little manual. It's not big, but you can study it. And I believe that if you use 1 or 2 or 3 of those things that I call life hacks or little tools, little exercises, if you keep at it, my friend, if you keep at it, right? If you keep at it, that's what's going to make the difference. And boy, why do I keep saying "anda"? Santos, get rid of that. Can you guys hear all the birds in the background? Man, it's so peaceful right here. By the way, thanks for the thumbs up. You never show the real book. Laugh out loud. You know what? I'm going to have to order the book. I will order the book this week. So on Friday's episode, hopefully I'll have it and I'll be able to show it. I know. I'm just showing the images of the book. But you can always get your own copy. And you can get your own copy. I believe it's less than $20. And study it. That's the key. And you know, once again, that book is not just about gambling. It's not just for problem gamblers. Yeah, we can hear it sounds really cool, the background. So let's get into this story because again, time is running. I wanted to get into this story. It was a cool, I believe it was autumn. It was a cool autumn evening back in Hartford, Connecticut. The time is probably about 6:30 in the afternoon. Anything you want to chat about or need advice or? I need help. I need help every single day, my friends. I tell you, I'm excited about life, but I need help every single day. And I'm grateful for my coach, my personal coach, he's kind of a mentor also to me, and all the other digital coaches that I have in my life. So if anybody wants, I can see if you post something, you post a question, I'm going to do my best to answer it. You can also send me an email. So let's get into this story because I want to get this out there. In fact, I don't even know why I'm sharing this story, but it's part of my history. It's part of my background. It's part of the trauma that I've had to overcome in my life. So about the age of 7 or 8, somewhere around there, maybe 8 years of age, I might be connecting with you, Jay Reading. Maybe you can help me out with I might have some things that I'm working on through YouTube and videos, etc. So I'll be reaching out to you. if I have your email, because I don't have your email. So anyways, my mother and I, my brother, I don't remember my sister being in this story. I don't remember her, but I believe that she was there, or she might have, I believe she was there. And we just had arrived at the apartment where we lived on Bedford Street. We just had arrived, and I believe that we were at the hospital. My mother, we came from the hospital. I believe that my father had abused my mother that day, and we came back from the hospital. It was a cold evening. It was a little bit of a cold evening. I know it wasn't summer. And we came back to our apartment. We lived in this building on Bedford Street in Hartford, Connecticut. We lived on the bottom apartment, and the apartment was kind of a straight apartment. I don't remember how many bedrooms it was, but I know it was a straight run from the back of the apartment to the front of the apartment. So I'll give you some tips shortly. Hear this story first. Okay, let me focus here. And so we got back, I believe it was from the hospital. My mother had gone through another situation with my father. My father was very abusive. He was very physically abusive towards my mom, and towards us children. I mean, I went through a lot of shit when I was younger. So we got back home. It was kind of cold, and we noticed there was a broken window. There was as I said, it was a straight run from the back of the apartment to the front of the apartment. And we noticed it was very cold inside. So we were investigating why it was cold, and we noticed that there was a hole. The window was broken in the kitchen area, in the back of the apartment. And we thought that was kind of strange. At least, again, I was about 7 or 8 years of age. Okay, we lived on the street. It was about a block and a half long. At the top of the street, there used to be a bar. It was like a bar, a night place. What I call it, a bar, like a disco. You can call it a disco. And it was a store also. And people would party there. Remember, I could hear music, loud music at night, and sometimes in the early hours of the morning, especially on weekends. And they had a big dumpster. I remember we used to walk by there. I believe we probably walked by there to school. There was a big dumpster there, and it reeked like crab and lobster and seafood. So I remember that big old dumpster near the side of that place. But people used to go there and party, and that was right there. In fact, I used to go in there and buy candy. I used to go to the store and buy candy. So, and then we lived at the apartment building right down the street. So anyways, we're in the apartment. We're back in the apartment, and we're kind of looking around. It was kind of a strange evening. We called an officer, or I believe an officer, police officer, came with us back to the apartment because my dad, again, as I said, my dad had either slapped my mom or beat her, did something, and we ended up going to the hospital. We were somewhere. But I remember the police officer came to the house, and he looked around. He came inside the apartment. He looked around because the window was broken. And I remember he took some notes, and then he left. The officer left. Now I'm obviously condensing this story into the time span that we have here. So the officer left. He didn't bother going outside and looking in the back area of the apartment. He just stayed inside and took some notes, and then he left. So we were in there. It was kind of the apartment was dark. I mean, there was some lighting in there. And it's really weird because I don't remember seeing my brother there that evening, but he was there. I definitely don't recall my sister. And I don't remember my mom, but she was there. Obviously, she was there too. It's kind of a little bit dark, and maybe my mind is protecting me from certain key things back there. And again, the reason why I'm sharing this is to share with people some of the stuff, some of the shit, some of the trauma that I've gone through. And because of that trauma that I went through as a child, I was very promiscuous at a young age. I started smoking marijuana at a very early age. I started gambling, throwing dice with some of the older guys, and that's what got me going with gambling. Probably, well, I started gambling probably at the age of about 14 or 15. Okay, so somebody suggested, we were all in the home. Somebody suggested, hey, why don't you put, I don't know who it was. Somebody suggested put the table. It might have been the police officer said, maybe you guys can put the table. We had a small table against that window, block some of the cold air that was coming into the apartment. So we were kind of moving around, settling in. And next you know, my mother, it was my mother or my brother that walked into the kitchen. In fact, we might have even had a neighbor that lived upstairs in the apartment building that we lived. It was 3 floors. We lived on the first floor, it was second, and there was a third floor. So it might have been the neighbor that came down from upstairs. He didn't like, I think it was a man. Yeah, he didn't like my father very much. So I guess my mom was there, my brother, they went to go put that table against that window. And next you know, my mother started screaming. And maybe it was my brother also. And all I heard was, there he is. There he is. And he has a knife in his hand. So I bolted. I ran out the front door. I ran over to that bar. It was kind of in the evening. I ran over to that bar place, and I don't know what was going on in the apartment or outside of my apartment at that time, because I bolted. I grew up with so much fear, and that, you know, that kind of, it was just a very, very dark night. I ran out. I remember going into that bar, and there was a black guy there, big black man. Now I've seen him before. I've seen him before because I used to go to the store. There was a storefront, kind of a little place where people, you know, again, they listen to music, they ate seafood, kind of a restaurant. And I remember the guy grabbing me. I remember he grabbed me, and he went over to this area, it was like a wall where they had these coat hooks, and he had this white jacket. It looked like a meat cutter's jacket or something. Not a jacket, I mean one of those, that outfit that you put on. It's a white outfit with big pockets. At least that's what it looked like to me. It was so dark. And I saw him grab a gun. I remember he was reaching, I saw the gun. I remember I seen it. I was there with this guy, and he grabbed the gun, and I yelled at him. I went in there yelling. I said, my dad's killing my mother. My dad's killing my mother. And that's all I remember saying to him. And then he reached in, he grabbed the gun, and I told him, I said, don't shoot my dad. Don't shoot my dad, something like that. And when I walked out, this guy was holding my hand. When I walked out, I'll give you an explanation of what happened. From what my mother told me, I didn't hear this from my brother, but I heard it from my mother. My brother doesn't like to talk about this. In fact, my brother, he's still traumatized by our early childhood. Apparently, my dad chased my brother through the apartment, out the front door. Remember the back? It's a straight run. So I bolted. My brother, I was out of there. I was probably the first one out of that apartment. And it's weird because this is like, it's almost like, I mean, it was a real, okay, we're back. Oh man, I'm gonna have to hold my phone. So I'm finishing up my story here. Last Tuesday was a bomb. So apparently, let me get back to this. I'm gonna have to hold my phone because it's too hot and it's overheating. I should have been able to get back to my office, my studio, and do this. But anyways, my dad chased my brother and he couldn't catch him. He chased him out. It was already dark. He chased him out of the apartment and he couldn't catch my brother. So my mother fell. I believe she fell on the sidewalk, and my father caught her. He stabbed her 3 times in the chest and 2 times in the back. her blood was all over the sidewalk. In fact, my mother was telling me that she could see the blood shooting out of the holes in her chest. My mother told me this. And she was next to a white van. Her blood was all over that van. She lost all her blood. My mother lost all her blood. And now I didn't see this, and I'm glad that I didn't see this, but when I walked outside holding this black man's hand, I saw my father in the police car. He had this look. I don't know if he looked at me, but he looked like he was paralyzed sitting in that back seat. And I remember just staring at him. And it was very frightening. It was very eerie what I saw. And I heard when I was coming out of that storefront, that bar area with the black man holding my hand, I could hear the ambulance rushing. It was, you know, and I didn't see, it was so dark, I couldn't see any of the blood, I couldn't see any of that stuff. And next you know, that night basically just disappeared from, the rest of that night disappeared from memory. I don't know if my uncle came to get us and took us out of the apartment. I believe it was my uncle, because he was the one that always came to the rescue, my mother's brother, Andy. He always came to the rescue when things happened. He was a little guy, kind of like me, and he was afraid of my father, too. A lot of people were afraid of my father, and because he was very violent. He's always fighting with police officers in front of the house, you know, and just people did not like my father. He was a very violent man. So that's what I remember. I remember visiting my mother at the hospital a couple of times, looking through a little pane of glass. There used to be these doors with thick glass with the metal wiring in it at the hospital, because I couldn't go inside to see her. And she lost all her blood. The hospital, they were able, the ambulance made it to the hospital in less than 3 minutes. If she wouldn't have made it to the hospital, from what I hear, and if it would have been longer, she wouldn't have made it. She lost all her blood. She was very fortunate to get pumped full of blood that night. She was in a hospital for several weeks recovering. She got stabbed 3 times in the chest, 3 times in her chest area, and 2 times in her back. Now, this is just one incident that I went through. There's many more that I can talk about, and maybe I will as time goes on. And you know, the reason why I share these things, I see somebody was posting, I'm going to get back, I'm going to go through the comments. By the way, my mother's still alive today, and so is my father. As a matter of fact, what you see behind me is part of a hospital where my father is living at. I come to visit him. I take care of him. I change his diaper when I need to. I provide his clothes. I wash his clothes. The relationship that I have today is very, very unusual. I love my father. I've learned to forgive him for all of the damage that he's done to the family. But it was a very 48 years, 47 to 48 years for me of living in that total darkness with that kind of trauma in my mind, that I had no clue why I was doing the things that I was doing. See, you know, a lot of people may be suffering from problem gambling today, or from addictions, or from low self-esteem, or from fears like I was, or from insecurities, because of trauma that they went through as a child. So we don't have control over our childhood. We don't have control over our childhood. We have control over what we're going through today. So you may be sitting here, maybe you caught some of my story that I've shared, and I probably didn't do justice to that story. Believe me, it was a very, very dark story. There's bits and pieces that are still missing, but that's the way that I recall it from my portion of it, and the way that my mother told me. Now, that story and many others are going to actually be in a book that I'm writing. actually, the book is completed. I just haven't fully edited yet. It's going to be on Amazon. I'm hoping before the year 2019. That's going to be a much bigger book than what I currently have. And I'll talk a lot about my childhood. I'll talk a lot about the traumas that I went through. But today I'm very, very grateful to the Lord. I tell myself just about every single day the things that I'm grateful for, the things that I'm thankful for, because my brother and my sister are still traumatized. And I ask myself, why haven't they been able to come out? Why are they still struggling? I don't have the answer for that. I can only speak for myself. By the way, I see a lot of comments, and I thank you guys all for your comments. I'm going to go through them and try to see what's going on. It looks like we've got a short number on this Sunday for whatever reason. And my phone is just burning up. That's what happened. It shut down earlier. My phone is burning up, and it's probably because we're over 100 degrees out here in Stockton, California. So, you know, when people give me excuses, when people tell me that they can't find a solution, when people continue to struggle and struggle, I understand a lot of that. I understand. But I also understand that there has to come a day where, in fact, I made a video last night or yesterday where you have to come to grips, and there are some things that you're just going to have to divorce. I don't believe in personal divorce or marriage divorce. I don't believe in that. But I do believe in the psychology of divorcing something. And what I shared in that video, I titled Divorcing Problem Gambling, Warning, is a very, very real psychology. And you know, there's a lot of counselors out there. There's a lot of life coaches. There's a lot of psychiatrists and therapists that probably wouldn't agree with my style of self-empowerment, right? Laura says, I would like to stay away. The first thing you said. Where am I here? Comments. I'd like to see his family. Well, my dad actually. Well, I'm not going to go in there. He's probably eating dinner. Maybe I'll make a video. In fact, I've made videos with my mother. I just recently went to Connecticut, and I made a video on Facebook. I did a live with my mother, and my brother and my sister. So, but anyways, I'm kind of getting off course here. Here's the important thing that I want to share with you guys. That anything is possible. Anything is possible. It's not easy. It's not hard. It's doable. But you have to have a plan. You have to get help. Sometimes we're so prideful, and that was me too. I was full of pride. And I didn't realize that I needed to have help. I needed to get help. Literal physical help. Not just the books, not just the videos. And believe me, they helped me big time. But what helped me take it to the next level faster was when I got a coach, was when I got a personal mentor. Now, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you guys. If you're trying to do it by yourself, find somebody. Find a personal friend. Get a counselor. I mean, I offer coaching, obviously, and some people will take me up on this offer. Some won't, and I understand that. But you got to have somebody in your life. You got to have somebody that you can brainstorm with, somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can be held accountable to. And that is going to help you take your life to the next level. And it's going to help you take your life to the next level faster. Because if you're trying to do it on your own, I guarantee you, you're going to continue to fail. I mean, you can do it on your own. I'm not saying you can't. But it's going to take you a lot longer. A lot longer. And then again, most people, 98% that achieve their victory, that achieve their freedom, that break through, it's because they stepped out for help. They're either using a GA program, they either have a counselor, they have a spouse, they either have a good life coach, a therapist, or some kind of a doctor. We must get through. We must step away and get the help that's needed, my friends. That's what's gotten me to where I am today. That's what's helped me build courage. That's what's helped me build forgiveness. That's what's helped me build loving kindness. And I have to say this, first and foremost, I have to give the praise, all of the praise, to my Lord above. Because I know for a fact that if it wasn't for His grace, I would not be here in front of you. If it was not for His grace and for His words through the Bible, I would not understand the power of positive self-talk. I would not understand the power of self-visualization. I would not understand labeling or any of these other things that I practice. And yes, I admit my life has gotten easier. I admit. As I stay on this mission, on this course to help people around the world, believe me, I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care what kind of mistakes I make. I don't care how funny I look on video. I'm getting ready to release another book pretty soon, another short book. It's titled 3 of the Most Important Questions That You Should Be Asking. I'm working on that one also. So I've got like 3 books that I'm going to be working on. And I'm going to be working on translating the Little Red Book into Spanish. Again, we just started promoting that book. I may end up doing a little bit of a revision to that book, change it a little bit up. If not, I may just leave it as it is. I'm hoping to get some reviews on that book. Some people are going to enjoy it, that manual. Some people are going to enjoy it. Some people are not. And I'll tell you why. The people that take advantage and actually apply, they study that little manual, those are the ones that are going to benefit. Just like I tell people, you know, if you're struggling with your life and you come across my video and my video piques your interest, it gives you something to give you hope, watch that video. Watch it again and again. Or plug your headphones in and listen to it. You don't have to sit there and look at my beautiful brown face, but you can plug it in a headset and you can listen to the video while you're driving, before you go to bed, when you wake up. I'm telling you, if you find something that works, stick with it. You know, squeeze the juice out of it, my friend. Squeeze the juice out of it. Or a book or whatever. So I'm going to get back to some of these comments. I know I've been going on here I'm going to be winding down pretty soon here. So I thank you all that have participated. Episode number 17. So I hope you enjoyed a little bit of my history. And that's the truth, my friend. You know, I have nothing to hide from people. There are some things that I'm not going to share. I'm going to be open and honest. There's things that I don't believe is anybody's business. But the things that are important that I feel that I need to share, that's what I will share. In hopes to transform people that want to take responsibility for their own life. And believe me, you can. You can. You can change your life. You can change the way you talk to yourself. You can change the thought patterns that you have. You can relabel yourself. You can build a business. You can get best at your job. You can become creative. Believe me, my friends, if you choose, like one of my mentors said, whatever you can conceive, you can achieve. I believe that was Napoleon Hill. Whatever you can conceive in your mind. Now, there's going to be some things that you're just not going to want to do. But whatever you can bring out of your mind and think, maybe nobody else has done it. You put that thing on paper, you begin to analyze it, you begin to dissect it, you begin to brainstorm with another person. 2 heads are better than 1. Believe me, you can do it. You can do it. So, let me look at some of these comments here. Boy, get the money out if your hands, Laura says. You guys, I think you guys are going into it. D. Miller, hey, welcome to the episode. I apologize. See, D. Miller, Bon Scott, thank you for joining the episode. It's so tough out in Illinois. There's slot machines at every establishment. I'm gonna address that issue. You know, those of us that are still gambling, problem gambling, you're being tested, my friends. I had somebody say, you know what, Santos? I was watching a video and I saw a gambling commercial on your video. I'm sorry, but you're gonna be tested. If you make a decision to turn away from something, there's gonna be tests that are gonna come at you. And that's where the struggle is. Yes, it's gonna hurt sometimes. It's gonna be painful at times. But unless you're willing to go through that struggle, you know, I can't control all of the ads on my YouTube channel. But unless you're willing to go through that struggle, my friend, victory is gonna be far, far away. You know, we can't keep running. I knew I couldn't. I couldn't run. So Illinois, I know it's not going to be easy unless you move away from a place where there's none of that. But we're going to be surrounded by billboards. We're going to be surrounded by people at the store, in the line, talking about how much money they won at the casino last week or whatever. We're going to be on the internet. We're going to be faced with those kinds of temptations. And I'm sorry, I do apologize, but even on some of my videos, sometimes I go in there to do some editing or whatever, and I have to click the ad away because I don't want to focus on that. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I understand if you're kind of fresh and you're struggling, you got to move away. I have a client, I have a coaching client that lives in Las Vegas, and I've been coaching him, and he's doing better. But ultimately, you know, I can't take responsibility for people. I mean, I can't take responsibility for what other people decide to do or where they live. You know, sometimes you may have to move away. I hate saying this, but it's the truth. You may have to move away. And again, I'm not telling you that you need to move away. That's not what I'm saying. You need to figure out what's going to work best for you, my friend. And once you figure out your plan, you work the hell out of it. Okay? You work the hell out of your plan until you achieve your freedom, my friend. That's the truth. So I'm going to go through the comments here. I'm done speaking. I'm going to be closing down pretty soon. Remember, we're here on Fridays and Sundays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed, please do so at soldiersofselfmastery.com/6 minutes. You'll get a free report, help you build some confidence, help you build some courage. You get a little PDF download that will help you, my friend. Completely free. There's no charge to that. soldiersofselfmastery.com/6 minutes. So, oh yeah, casinos on internet. Jay Reading says casinos on internet. By the way, I've got my granddaughter here. She wants to be in the picture. Taylor, you want to show your beautiful face? These are my two girls that I hang out with on weekends sometimes. Come on, get in the picture here. I'm teaching them the ropes also. I'm trying to give them, you know, not just advice, but live my life in front of them. And my granddaughter right here, she knows. I don't play around. I'm teaching her to make every single day a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top day and learn to think. Am I teaching you how to think? Learn how to think and what to think? Huh? Am I mean to you sometimes, or am I nice to you sometimes?
Both.
Be honest. Why? Why is it? What do I want for you?
To be good.
To be what? I want you to be the best, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, there they are. They're hanging out with me at Grandpa's place. I got to get back inside in a little bit. So, hi, Taylor. Jay Reading says, say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Taylor. Say hi.
They spell her name wrong.
I know, they might have spelled her name wrong. So there's Nevaeh is actually heaven spelled backwards. That's what her mom named her for whatever reason. She should have named her Heaven instead of Nevaeh, but Nevaeh's a good name, except it's just Heaven backwards.
Hey, Heaven.
So I was thinking of moving. Ohio has less casinos. There you go. Laura says I was thinking of moving.
My phone's been calling me.
But ultimately, Bon Scott, let me see, Jay Reading, Laura, Bon, okay. Ultimately, the battle needs to be won right here. And you guys that follow me on YouTube, you know this. You know this. I live near casinos. In fact, sometimes I drive by them. And when I drive by them, I give them the finger. I'm not talking about this one. I give them the finger and I yell at them from the car. I literally do that. Psychological stuff. I talk about these things. I may talk a little bit more about psychology of how to use your mouth, how to use your words, and how to use your mind. In fact, I talk about these things in the videos all the time, so it's not something that I'm talking about new. So, D. Miller says Springfield. D. Miller, I'm originally from Connecticut. I was born in Cuamo, Puerto Rico, but I'm originally from Connecticut. So Springfield is right, is kind of the backwoods there to Willimantic, Norwich. Taylor, listen to your grandpa. He is a legend.
Thank you, Taylor.
All right, well, I'll accept that. She's not my granddaughter. Nevaeh is, but they're always together, and I take them with me sometimes. Where were we yesterday? We went to the beach yesterday. Much love. Likewise, D. I don't know your first name, so I'll just call you D. I don't want people to know that is why I wonder. Okay, guys, I'm going to be closing down here. I apologize for the technical difficulties that we had earlier. My next video is going to be better. It's going to be more upgraded. It's going to be in the studio. It's going to be supercharged. And we may have another story time without no milk and cookies. All right, guys, we still have part of this day to go. I hope that you have achieved your victory this weekend, and you didn't. You did not gamble.
Riley's waiting.
I can't control you. I can only control myself. But I'll tell you what, man. It sure feels damn good to wake up every Sunday and Saturday and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and not think about having to put money into the devil's playground. In fact, next week or Friday, I believe I'm going to talk about the spiritual aspect of what I believe is going on in the casino. The spiritual aspect and why I call it the devil's playground. Not a good place to be. So, good luck, Laura, for Tuesday. Tell us how you get on net. Paul time. Chris, thank you for the episode. Can't gamble with no money. Bye, Santos. That's right. If you have no money, no honey. Quitting gambling only works if you really want. Yes. Right? Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous will work if you work it. You got to have a plan, my friends. Again, get the book, the little red book. I know I'm going to have to show it next time, the real book. On Amazon, soldiersofselfmastery.com. Donate to this mission if it makes sense to you. Share this video if it makes sense to you. But more importantly, I want to leave you with this thought. You're going to win the battle right here. Okay? You got to win the battle right here. And somebody mentioned it. You got to be completely determined, my friend. Completely determined.
Why does he keep blocking?
Okay, Jay Reading, I'm going to work on that one. You challenged me.
If you search the little red book.
Well, I don't have copies of the book. I don't keep copies of the book. But if you want, I mean, you can send me a check. You can send me a check. I could order the book and send it to you directly if you'd rather do that. Or you could just pay through PayPal. SROLON 44 at Gmail. S as in Sam, my first name Santos. Rolon is my last name, ROLON as in Nancy, 44 at Gmail. That opens up PayPal, and you can pay, you can donate through PayPal, however you want to do it. Or just send me a message. We can always work it out. Remember, there's always a solution, my friends.
Okay, bye.
All right, guys. Peace through strength. What was it that I wanted to share with you guys? Remember to make every single day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top, in spite of and because of. I'll see you at the very top, my friends, on the inside on the very next one. Thank you very much for being a part of my night.
We found your book. Found your book.
I gotta end this live stream.